If these smells are correct, it will soon contain the entire known universe. Oh no! So we're trapped here in the universe forever?
It's Mom's world and we're just living in it. Or I guess I should say universe, multiverse, omniverse, metaverse, whatever you want to call it. That's right, friends, we're back discussing Futurama, the Hulu revival, Season 11, Episode 5, this one entitled Related to Items You've Viewed. And before we go too much further, there will be spoilers ahead, so duck out now if you aren't interested in those. Otherwise, we're cracking on with the show. This episode did a lot of the things that I've been asking the newer version of Futurama to do, but for some reason it still didn't quite hit with that impact I'm really hoping for. It still felt a little hollow and a little soulless. There's still something that's missing, some spark in the show that hasn't yet been reignited. This episode, as far as the revival has gone, is probably the best, the strongest. It told the best story, it had the most emotional weight, and it had the most, I guess, through lines with some of our characters. So the crux of this one is that Mom is the stand-in for Amazon. Now, she's been the stand-in for a few things throughout the show. Mom Santo and the last run of the show. Now she's Momazon, and she has her own Alexa thing here. And it's the whole point of the story here, really, is to critique Amazon and to sort of kind of maybe critique AI as well. But we also have the subplot, or I don't even know if it's a subplot because it kind of starts off the episode. The whole Fry and Leela thing, they're now moving in together into Fry and Bender's old apartment, and that's nice. I do like the fact that they're addressing the whole relationship issues from the last season or series finale, I guess you could say. So they are officially still a couple. They're moving in together. They're putting their relationship further and further along. I like the fact that they're not just resetting everything and kind of playing off against the old tropes of will they, won't they. They're sticking with this. Some of the other problems I'm having, though, is while they are furthering this relationship and keeping this as a sort of pseudo through line, they aren't addressing some of the other long-lasting implications that I think should at least be touched on. We had a very pivotal episode with Nibbler just last week, and no sight or sound of Nibbler here. Not even just a brief slight reference or anything. The same thing with Amy and Kif's children. They were born, they were a big part of that storyline, they were a culmination of things going on, and then hide nor hair of them in this season so far again. Now, I don't necessarily think they need to be brought up and touched upon in every single episode, but these are very pivotal, life-changing, universe-changing implications to the show as a whole, and I understand that this is a fairly episodic, self-contained type of cartoon, but it's no longer on broadcast, it's on streaming. So I can't imagine these episodes are necessarily intended to be, throw them on out of order and see what sticks. They are not being shown anywhere on TV, just thrown on at, 12:30 at night and people are, just seeing what comes at them. To have these things actually have import, impact, weight within the universe, I think there should just be a little bit more to that. Maybe they were working on these episodes out of order and they had no idea when or where things would be shown, and that's why they didn't want to throw in these implications, because for all I know, this episode was intended to be episode 1, and they just kind of put it as episode 5, so I may be overthinking things. These are just things I hope they don't drop, and I love to see when they bring them back in, because this is the new status quo of the universe. Another thing, I really want them to address that time jump. Obviously, it's not necessarily going to have the ramifications of changing everything and tilting everything on its head, but they did have that time jump at the beginning of the season, and they really haven't touched upon how things may have changed around them in the universe. It was kind of played up a little bit in the premiere, but it's just kind of put on the wayside, so I would like to see an episode where they deal with the fact that all this stuff moved on around them, if that's truly what happened. There were some nice Easter eggs in here. There was a lot of character returns, especially the Moon characters. Tinny Tim was in it briefly, that poor guy, and there was someone else. Oh, yeah.
I warned you this would happen.
You said global warming.
I said climate crisis.
Al freaking Gore came back. It wasn't really a climate change allegory, so I don't know why they were throwing him in here. Maybe they don't have a climate change episode. Maybe this is just where they were able to get him, but it was kind of a nice Easter egg, and it kind of did throw me off that I'm like, oh, was definitely not expecting to see him back here with his hawking holes or anything like that. The whole Invasa, that's the Alexa stand-in they have going here, she takes over control of the Mom Corporation, Momazon, whatever, and infinitely expands the the entire operation from the little base on the moon, and it eventually expands out to encompass the entirety of known reality, I guess you could say, which reminded me for some reason of a Justice League Unlimited, I think, episode with the Amazo robot who overcame his programming and decided to go out amongst the stars and just envelop and learn everything in the cosmos and then eventually return.
These past months, I have amassed so much knowledge, and yet I remain confused. What am I evolving into? What is my purpose? I must know. Tell me!
Don't know why. This kind of gave me similar vibes. So are we going to see a more enlightened cosmic entity version of this Invasa come back later on in the season and say, I have learned all there is to learn and I've become one with the universe, which also now has implications for when Bender met God earlier in one of the episodes. So could this potentially be the creation of God? Probably not. I'm, again, probably thinking too much into this. As you could probably tell, this episode has given me more to chew on than the rest of the season so far, but my firm feeling right now is if none of these 5 episodes existed, had the show not returned, had the show been left on, I don't even want to call it hiatus because it technically was officially done, would we have missed anything? And I can't really say yes right now. Had these 5 episodes not existed at all, I don't think in the grand scheme of anything we're missing that much. There's nothing that really has that definitive, long-lasting implication of some of the earlier Futurama episodes. Yes, they're doing some fun things. It's nice to see these characters exist again, but like a broken record, I'm going to repeat myself again here, it's just missing that weightiness and that heart that I really, really hope comes back. Now, next episode is going to be the Xmas episode, and it looks like it's also going to involve time travel. So theoretically, there could be a lot of fun stuff there. I like the whole Xmas concept. I like the whole time travel concept. In and of themselves, in theory, they're not always done that well. So those combined could potentially be the best episode of the season thus far, and I believe I've seen from a few people that have seen up through that episode, they think the same thing, that it is the best of the season. So fingers crossed that that might become the definitive Hulu universe version of this show. But then after that, we get the vaccine episode, and I am very much, I don't know if worried is the right way to look at it, but it's very much topical, timely, but way past the prime, way past the point where that would have actually made sense. So unless they kind of twist it and turn it on its head and make it more than meets the eye, something that's more than surface level, which they have done in the past, so I am holding out a bit of hope, it's probably going to be a clunker that's not going to age well. One thing that I would like to see is a little bit more interaction with the wider universe of Futurama. Most of what we've done is still based around the Sol system. We have gone and ventured out a little bit further, but that's one of the things I did like about the original run. Sometimes they would go out there and meet these wacky multiversal people or people on the edge of the known universe, very alien looking things, and they're probably just getting back in the swing of things right now, so they want to focus closer to home. But I would like to get a little bit more adventurous with some of the upcoming episodes and focus less on the implications of things going on just specifically on Earth. Maybe have a little bit more lore or something like that out there. But those are just some of my thoughts. Overall, probably the best episode of the season, but like I've iterated before, probably not doing anything new enough to really warrant its existence at this point. But what are your thoughts? Are you enjoying the new Futurama? Have you not watched it yet? Are you just kind of meh like I am right now? Leave all those thoughts down below. Like, share, subscribe, throw some money at me, do whatever you want to do. Also, I'm kind of fooling around with my video output a little bit, so hopefully this looks better, but let me know all those things. And until next time,
we create our own purpose in life. Now go create